Hey, it's Tim from AK Endless Sports Cards. Well, spring has finally sprung, hopefully, here in the state of Alaska. It has been pretty warm. It's been around 40 degrees or so. Snow's been melting. Like even at night, it seems like it's not really freezing right now. So that has just been great because it's been a really long winter. I live in like South Central Alaska, and we've had a lot of snow this winter and a lot of cold temperatures, which has been, fantastic. If you like going out ice fishing, and I do my share. There's a lot of ice. People are driving out on lakes and things like that. The last time I went, there's 25, 30 inches of ice. So that part's cool. But it's just been a long winter. And I usually try to make at least one trip out of the state during the winter to kind of break it up a little. Wasn't able to do so this year. So already planning to do that next year to break it up a little. But finally, melting snow. I'm sure this is another fall spring. We'll probably get some temperatures back in and stuff, but toward the end of March, regardless of if we get a rash of snow or cold temperatures again, spring hopefully is right around the corner. All right, so to card stuff, Ohtani's been in the news, and not for a great reason. I really, really hope that that story with his interpreter doesn't end up meaning that Ohtani was directly involved in this. He just seems like a great guy. He's an outstanding player. He's just a generational talent. I've mentioned before that, he's really the only guy I'm collecting in baseball. I'm not going to sell any of the stuff that I have. I have a bunch of rip cards, and I got a nice Transcendent rookie, and, got some other stuff. I'm not selling any of my Ohtanis. But, it's concerning when a story like that comes out because, if he ends up being implicated in that and he's directly involved, I mean, betting the penalties, range as far as being banned. So I'm really hoping that that he wasn't directly involved, and I really hope that doesn't have a negative impact on his career. It would really be a shame if it does. But like I said, I'm holding all my stuff. If you have Ohtani stuff, you make the best decision for you. This is not me giving advice. This is just one collector and what I've decided to do. But I'm watching that story closely. It's really going to be a bummer if he gets implicated in that because I think he's got a World Series or multiple World Series in him with the Dodgers because they just have so much in terms of resources, and they were already good. So, we'll kind of wait and see. I've been looking at my graded stack here. I did a graded card reveal in the last video. Just 8 cards. I mentioned in that video that I don't think PSA is grading harshly at all, but I look my stuff over pretty close before I send it in. I don't tend to send stuff in that's really questionable. It might be questionable between a 9 and a 10 in some cases, but I'm pretty confident that the stuff that I send in is going to get 9s and 10s. And so I'm thinking I'm going to throw a few of those cards on the bay and just put them at buy it now. I'm not going to do any auctions, and if they get bought, that's fine. If not, I'll hang on to them. Because I'm okay with hanging on to a lot of the cards that I just graded. So if you missed that video, go back and take a look. It's pretty quick, just 8 cards. I've been starting to think about the National. April's right around the corner. If you haven't been to the National, or it's been a while, my strategy is to book everything pretty far in advance. Cleveland, there's no hotels right by the IX Center. So typically, the play is to either, rent an Airbnb and drive in and park or stay at a hotel that has a shuttle. I always go with the hotel route. I've had a hotel booked since, I'd have to look back at it, I don't know, last October. I like to book those hotels like really early. And I know I'm at a hotel that I've stayed at before that I really like. And there's a free shuttle to the IX Center. The one bummer with the shuttle is that on the way back in the afternoon, sometimes you got to wait through a couple rounds if there's a lot of people staying at your hotel. That is one bummer. We've had to wait maybe like an hour before after the show. That's one thing that can be, like I said, a little bit on the bummer side. But I just make sure that I've got money to tip the driver, and so it's something to think about. If you haven't already, if you're planning on going to the National in Cleveland, maybe start looking at rooms. And for me, again, living in Alaska, it's more than just rooms. It's flights. It's everything else. I also normally get the VIP badge. I already bought those tickets, so basically everything's booked there. With the National in mind, card wise, I've got some time to think about this. So if you watch my videos last year leading up to the National, I went on vacation for like a month, including the 5 days of the show. And one of my big goals last year was to kind of, consolidate my collection. I was trying to trade smaller cards into bigger cards, but bigger cards that I wanted to keep. They were PC things, and so I haven't really sold a lot or if any of those cards that I traded up into. I can't think of any off the top of my head, anyway. And I'm kind of thinking about doing the same thing this year, except maybe moving up even bigger. So I had to run into those back pages at last year's National. We kind of talked about this, and if you never got to see that, he had a large trade at last year's Nationals, at last year's National, to trade into a huge Mickey Mantle card. And I don't have enough firepower to trade into something that big. But I do have a lot of nice cards where I could trade into something worth a few $1,000s. And so I'm kind of kicking that around a little bit to see if I wanted to take the cards that I've traded up into and trade up to something even bigger. But I don't really have something in mind that I want to trade into just yet. So that's kind of something that I'm kicking around, have some time to think about it. I don't want to get rid of any of the rare Luka stuff. I'm fine with a lot of the, lower end stuff that you can pick up anytime. I don't want to get rid of the super rare Lukas because I am a big believer in Luka, and I think he's got an NBA title or titles coming in his career. And he's, people, there's a lot of people that really don't like him, but he's just a phenomenal player. Just got to watch the games. He is pretty phenomenal. With that said, I got the three cards in that I've consolidated into. I'd mentioned in a previous video I was selling off a lot of lower end rookies and then using those proceeds to buy bigger cards for my PC. I got those three in. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you those three, and let me know what you think in the comments. I think these are three really nice PC cards for my collection, but let me know what your thoughts are. Without any further ado, let's take a look at the cards. So I have to say I've really enjoyed this process of trying to pick out cards that I want to, level up to as I kind of whittle down some of my collection. The first one I put in a video a couple videos back. I showed that there was a couple versions. There's like a really dark version of this card, and then like a really lighter version of it. And when I got mine in the mail, mine is kind of like in between. So I don't know what is going on with this particular card. I know that you can look at multiple PSA 9s, and they can all be different. And that is the 2022 Bowman University Wembanyama Bowman first card. It's a cool card. I talked about this leading up to last year's National. And at the time, they were $300 and got up to like $400 or $500 raw even. So I was going to put off. I really kind of thought these were going to drop pretty drastically in value. They didn't. I did get this for a pretty good price. I paid $280. It's not super dark, but it's not super light. Like I've seen a couple copies. Mine is kind of. It's definitely on the lighter side for sure, as far as like the card itself on the front. I'm really happy with it. Like I said, I thought $280 was a good price. It came in a PSA 9. So, pretty cool card. This is one I've been looking to pick up. I held off as long as I could. I kind of thought the prices were going to come down quite a ways. Well, they didn't in, roughly a year. So, it's kind of basically time to say, well, if I want to get one, probably should, because he's having a great year. Unfortunately, we're not going to see him in the playoffs because the Spurs are statistically either the worst team in the league or close to it. I think it was between them and the Wizards. So they're bad. Which is one thing that concerns me about Wembanyama a little bit. Normally, when you have a generational superstar, it leads to wins for that team. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to make the playoffs, but you see a noticeable improvement in wins, and we have not seen that from Wembanyama. I think last time I checked, they had like 15 wins. That is a little bit concerning. So that kind of bears watching, but I really like that particular card. It doesn't bother me that he's not in a pro uniform. He's in like a European uniform. I really like it. Okay, so the next card is going to look like a card that I've had in previous videos, but there's going to be a difference. That's the 2018 Chronicles Luka Titanium rookie card. So this looks a lot like a couple of the Lukas that I posted before that were draft year numbered. They were numbered to 18. This is the actual like true rookie card, which is jersey number. So every rookie in this particular set had a serial number on it to the athlete's jersey number. So Luka, fortunately, has a higher number, so more collectors can get their hands on this card. So Luka's is out of 77. So, you know, if the athlete's number was 1, then their rookie from Titanium was a 1 of 1. If their number is 11, then they're number to 11. You get the idea. So some of those rookies are super, super rare. This is rare. I mean, it's numbered to 77. So this is a really cool card. I think the seller wanted about $450. I think I got it for around $320. So I really liked the price. I was really thrilled when the seller accepted the price. I know how rare these are. These are thicker cards, so they come in the thicker PSA case. I know how rare these are and how hard they are to find. How hard they are to find. I don't like paying the 10 tax. I don't want to pay $2,500 for this card, or $2,000 for this card. Not that it's not worth it, but I just don't want to pay that kind of money. So a 9 or a fine 9 is perfect for me for this particular card. And so this is the second card. And again, I sold a lot of low-end Lukas. I'm talking, you know, like Chronicles rookies, things like that. And some low-end Luka slabs. You know, I had some Luka rookies that were graded like 8s, for example, you know, in like Chronicles and things like that. I had a lot of raw Chronicles. So I'd rather have this card than a stack of rookies. Now, you know, I had a stack of $500-600 worth of low-end rookies of Luka, and decided to go ahead and sell those and then at least put part of that money into a bigger Luka. So I'm pretty pumped with that card. Last card, because I only got 3 of them. The last card is pretty neat. It's a card that came in one of these. These are really neat, by the way. These are, when a card goes to the authenticator, they get put in these types of things. I was a little surprised that this one did. I didn't think the value met that level, but it must have, or either that or had previously, I don't know. This card's dropped quite a bit in value. It is the 03-04 Upper Deck LeBron James rookie card, number 301. This is a true rookie from 2003. I know that when you see this, the first thought for a lot of people is going to be, well, oh man, you bought a 9.5 with no subs? Like, that's lame. You know, because BGS put this new service in a few years ago where, you know, you can choose to buy, or you could choose to get things graded without subgrades. So without the centering, corners, edges, and surface. That's not the case with this one though. This one's actually a Beckett Old Label. And if you're familiar with Old Label cards, the subgrades are on the back. And so this does have subs. The only thing that got dinged was corners at a 9. This is an awesome card. I've looked super close at this one. This is just an awesome condition. The challenge with grading this particular card, because I've graded a raw one of these or two, is that a lot of the front is black. Like the edges are, the corners are, etc. And it's so easy to show some white. And if you see any white on there, chances are really good you're gonna get a 9 if it's PSA, or maybe even a 9 for BGS. I've seen, you know, 8.5s. So it just depends. You could see a 10 here and there that's got a little bit of white on it, but it decreases your odds pretty dramatically. I was really pumped about this. So listen, PSA 10s are going for like $700-800. Those have dropped a ton. They were going for 2,000 not that long ago, but they're going for like $700-800, let's say. I put in an offer for like $275 and won this one. Guys, just hear me out. If you can buy 3 BGS 9.5 old labels, which there aren't, I don't see a lot of these available in an old label, but let's say you could. If you can buy 3 of this card in a BGS 9.5 old label, would you rather have that or a PSA 10? I'm just gonna tell you straight up right now, I would take 3 of these in a BGS 9.5 old label over a PSA 10 every day of the week. 3 of these? Like, that gap is just getting way too wide, in my opinion. And I'm taking advantage of it when I see stuff like that. So those are the 3 cards that I sold my lower end stuff to go ahead and purchase. Pretty happy with all of them. All of these are like PC items. Pretty pumped. Don't really have any other cards on the radar right now. But as per what I said earlier, I'd like to take cards that are in these ranges, maybe $200-300 range, and maybe try to trade into a larger card at the National. I've been thinking about it. I may not, because cards like this I really like for my PC. Like the Doncic definitely is not going anywhere. That's too hard to replace. But the cards like the Wembanyama and the LeBron, I mean, I would at least consider in a trade. But I got to make a decision as far as what types of cards I'd be looking to trade into, because that's part of it too. I don't want to trade just to trade. But yeah, that theme of consolidation may continue on. So I'm kind of in that process now where I'm looking into some things just to see where, is there a big card that I really want to get? So, well, I hope that everybody's had a great week here as we're looking to wrap up March. And remember that the opportunities for collecting sports cards are endless.